Welcome to the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm your host, Krysta, and I'm here to bring you captivating stories from some of the most fascinating people I've connected with on my own journey of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode. I'm super psyched for today because we're chatting with one of my very best friends, Rochelle Minagawa. I've known Rochelle for, about 3 years now, ever since I moved to Kelowna, BC here. And she was one of the first people that I connected with. And it's been such a blessing having her in my life. She also has a product-based business. So it's so nice to be able to, chat with her about not only all the health things that we're interested in. We both have a huge passion for health and wellness, but also just to have somebody to, chat about business ownership and all those things with. So today we are diving into Rochelle's business, which is called Mother Love Kombucha, which was born out of her passion for fermentation. So we're talking about ferments today. If you guys have been listening to this podcast, you know that I rattle on quite a bit about gut health. And so we're going to dig into that a little bit today, but a bunch of other cool stuff just about what is fermentation? Why is it good for us? Different types of ferments, how we can be doing it at home. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. And we're generally not getting enough ferments, especially in Western culture. And Rochelle is going to educate us on why that is. We're going to hear about her process and, also really good tips about what you are seeing in the grocery store and how to pick the best stuff that has all the good probiotics and stuff in there. So listen to the whole thing because she's got great tips up until the end. And a little bit more about Rochelle. We're going to hear about her kind of journey. She lived in Japan for a little bit, which is also cool and why we have a lot in common because we both lived in Asia. And why she started making ferments. It's actually a really, really cool story. And what's really amazing about her products is that they actually taste really, really good. And we're going to dive into why some kombuchas may not taste as good as others and why hers is really great. It's just these really amazing healthy beverages that you can feel good about you and both your family drinking. So let's dive into this episode and learn all about fermentation.
Hi, I'm Maddie. Let me tell you a quick story of how I'm supporting my PCOS with Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte. First of all, I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, so you know I'm investing in finding long-term, sustainable approaches to wellness. Living with PCOS, when things are feeling a little out of balance, it's common for me to wake up groggy, have blood sugar crashes throughout the day, or become totally overwhelmed by daily stressors. My morning coffee was causing blood sugar spikes, anxiety, and tummy trouble, so I swapped it for Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte about a year ago. And believe me when I tell you that the change has been insane. Each sachet has 3 servings of wild Siberian chaga, a powerful antioxidant-rich adaptogenic mushroom that helps to fight inflammation and fatigue and regulate the immune system. It tastes like a creamy hot chocolate with just a hint of spice, and it keeps my stomach calm. Since swapping, I feel more clarity and calm throughout the day, and my morning magic latte helps to set clear intentions for the rest of my day. I save 15% on my monthly subscription at wildremediesshop.com, and at $2.50 per serving, it's saving me a ton on Starbucks friends and supplement orders. Check out the links and promos in the show notes to get your own. Your adrenals will thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm here with one of my good friends, Rochelle, and we're going to be chatting ferments today.
Yeah, we are.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Me too. Thanks for inviting me. We're drinking some ferments.
We
Cheers.
are. We're having some of her amazing kombucha right now. What flavor is this one?
This is pina colada water kefir.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I really enjoyed am I saying it right? Jun,
yeah.
Jun.
You can pronounce it a bunch of ways. It's so tasty.
It is.
The champagne of kombucha.
Yeah, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a little bit of that at a holiday party that I had a few days ago, and it was Delicious. I think it's my favorite one.
It is the best kombucha. Jun kombucha is hands down one of the like tastiest ferments ever.
How come you guys only do it once a year? Is it hard to make?
Jun is like kombucha, but kombucha is made with black tea, green tea, and sugar. And that's what most kombucha producers are making, is this type of kombucha. Jun kombucha is a different culture, and it feeds off exclusively green tea and honey. So that's why you get the crisper, lighter profile. But honey's pricey, so not a lot of companies make it. There's one in Victoria, and it's that Jun kombucha is what we're using to ferment our hard kombucha with. Because it's a nicer kombucha, I think it makes a nicer alcohol kombucha.
Yeah, and those are so good. I'm so excited for those to come out.
So many good ferments.
Yeah. Yay. Well, I'm psyched to have you here today to talk about the health benefits of ferments. We know gut health is a hot topic. We talk about it a lot on the podcast. People are probably sick and tired of hearing me talk about gut health, but it makes such a huge impact for me. So I think it's important that people have all the information so they can be doing all the things in order to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
So why don't we just talk a little bit about your background and how you became a ferment queen?
Of course. It was really, like many things, just hobby turned career. As you can relate, you probably did a lot, like your background led into your career, and those are the best ones because you're doing something you love to do and it kind of naturally evolves. So I've always been really into health. As an athlete, I did track and field. I was a hammer thrower, and so there's always been the theme of fueling my body. And then after I lived in Japan, I was there like through the Fukushima earthquake. And there was all this radiation in the air. So when I came back to Canada after living in Japan during this time, I really was like extra into detoxing my body from radiation.
Wait,
so,
you never told me that. That's crazy.
You didn't know that?
No. Wait, did you have like radiation poisoning or something?
There was so much radiation.
What?
We couldn't go out in the rain because, well, the Fukushima, the earthquake happened and then the reactor exploded.
Oh,
that was 2011, the
2011
earthquake.
Okay, I'm thinking Fukushima. I'm probably saying it wrong. You're probably saying it correctly, but that's how it was said on the news. And yeah, that was horrifying.
It was a scary time to be in Japan. So I lived in Tokyo at the time and I worked in a really tall apartment building. We were maybe, was it like 3 hours? I'm probably getting that wrong. We weren't very close to the ocean where this happened, but we felt the earthquake. Like it was probably one of the scariest moments of my life.
Whoa.
Our building cracked, like trains stopped running, and there was like rolling blackouts. A lot of foreigners just left the country, but I hung around, and it was after the reactors exploded that there's tons of radiation in the air.
Yeah.
And so any of the rain that we're getting is radioactive. The air you're breathing in has radiation. And so at the time, I just kind of went on with my daily life. But when I came back to Canada, I was thinking about having kids. And I was like, I probably should detox my body. And so I spent a lot of time researching ways to do that with like spirulina and lots of things that will bind to toxins, heavy metals in the body and help remove it from your body. So iodine came into play, but also fermented foods. And so I was doing, I think it was the fall when I came back. So I started fall fermentation, which turned into my life. But I did kimchis and sauerkrauts, and I fermented as many things as I possibly could while I was on this journey of kind of cleaning up my body, really. And you fermented a couple things.
I've attempted to ferment a couple of things. I'm definitely not an expert. But I was doing beet kvass for a little while, which is really good. It's like a blood tonic, right? Like I think it's good for the blood. Yeah.
The beets. It's the beets in a salty brine.
Yeah.
I love beet kvass.
Yeah. And it was easy to make. Like I only fucked it up once where it like grew a bunch of mold. And I was like, Rochelle, is this okay? You're like, absolutely not.
Please dump that.
Don't drink that.
Don't drink that.
And I mean, being of Ukrainian descent, I should probably be making more sauerkraut. I don't. I buy it because I don't know. My thing is not so much making ferments. I'd rather just buy them from you. But I love them, and they're not super hard to make.
They're not super hard to meet. I'd be interested to like poll the listeners and see who has fermented and what popular ferments people are doing. Because I think more people ferment than probably do, but you could be surprised.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that.
Let's poll it.
We'll do that on social media because I'd love to see, especially what people are doing and if it's something that is, you know, like a generational recipe or something that's been passed down.
Well, sauerkraut's been hot. In recent years.
Yeah.
So I feel like everyone's kind of come across it at some point.
Yeah. But I think what people don't understand with, you know, stuff that they may think is fermented, but actually isn't, is like when you're in the grocery store and you're buying something like sauerkraut or pickles and it's in the middle of the grocery store and it's not cold, it's not actually fermented because it's been, what is it called? Pasteurized. Yeah. And I think that's kind of been the process. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about that, but like I know the type of canning and stuff that my grandma always did. There was always like the hot water bath and that sort of thing. And then I think you're kind of killing all the good stuff, aren't you?
Yeah. Heat is usually what's going to kill the probiotics and the good stuff. So if you're looking for fermented anything, beverages, kimchi, kraut, you'll want to find it in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Because that means it's still alive. So when you ferment, everything ferments at room temperature and you put it in the fridge to stop the fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take it out, it'll keep fermenting. So if you were to leave live bacteria on the counter, it would explode.
Yeah, 100%. And I've done that before. Actually, I did get into making my own kefir when I lived in Malaysia. Yeah. That was kind of a big thing there. And I went to a class and I got the kefir grains and I was making, oh my God, actually it was so good. So as you know, living in Asia, I was in Southeast Asia and there's all of this like amazing tropical fruit and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I used to buy, oh man, am I going to forget the name now? I'm going to forget the name.
Is it a vegetable? Is it a fruit?
It's a fruit and it's like, oh gosh.
Is it pokey?
No, it wasn't pokey. It was like kind of this yellowish color. It tasted like cotton candy. Like it was very sweet. It was very, very sweet. But I made my kefir with that and it was so good. It was so good. It brought like, it wasn't too sweet, but it kind of really brought in that like cotton candy kind of flavor and it was amazing. But
kind of like yogurt.
Yeah.
Well, kefir can be so like tangy. It's fermented milk.
This wasn't at all like this tasted. Oh, it wasn't milk kefir.
Oh,
it was water kefir. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can talk about that a little bit more. Yeah. People are probably like, what's the difference between those two things? But yeah, it was water kefir. So I was making like a soda with it. And I came home from work one day. I had a bottle just like explode all over the kitchen.
Yeah, it's one of the risks.
Yeah, that was a hot mess. But
that's the biggest challenge with ferments is like keeping them from not exploding when you do it commercially. At home, it's a little easier. I mean, things still explode on countertops, but managing that part is like the riskiest part of ferments. Yeah. But there's just so many benefits that.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, why don't we talk about some of those benefits?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So ferments, I think most people know it's good for digestion. Like it really comes down to our microbiome. So fermented foods contain live bacteria, probiotics, enzymes, all these good things that are living. And we are made up of bacteria. So we are 10 times bacteria to cells, more bacteria than we are cells in our body. So when we eat good bacteria, we're feeding all the stuff on our body, which helps all of our systems function. Mm-hmm. The microbiome, we actually don't know that much about it. The studies come out so frequently. There's always new studies about how important our microbiome is. And in our Western culture, we don't really take care of our microbiome and our gut health. No. I think in a lot of cultures, like ferments have been around for thousands of years. As long as we've had food, we've been fermenting it because before we had refrigeration, we had to preserve food. Mm-hmm. So in the winter after you harvest, you would preserve the vegetables and whatever you got from the harvest to last you until the next harvest. So that's why you would either put it in brine or ferment it in some way. And most ferments are good for 6 months to a year because of that cycle where we're preserving food. And then now that we have refrigeration, I think that's when we kind of stopped fermenting. So most cultures, like America doesn't really have a fermented food. When you go into like Eastern European countries, you have sauerkraut. Asia, you have kimchi. Japan, you have miso. There's tons of fermented things. You even ferment meat. But we don't really have that here because we're so convenience focused. So we're like, we'll keep it in a fridge or we heat blast it so it's pasteurized. So we love convenience. But ferments are coming back because we're realizing how important they are to overall health.
Like how much have you dug into the history of ferments? Like I always wonder how like people figured this shit out. Like who just like realized that you throw pickles in, you know, whatever, a solution and let it sit for so long and then you eat it and you don't die. Like
that's a good question.
Yeah. I always wonder
I guess
about
it was
stuff
trial
like
and
that.
error.
I guess.
Salt. They probably like salted because they used to salt meat too.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like salt preserves. Yeah. So you just throw everything in salt water.
That makes sense.
That's all fermented veggies are.
It's
just put it in salt water and hope it makes it till spring.
Yeah. I did some pickling this year for the first time. It was with heat. I mean, we didn't.
You canned it.
Yeah, we canned it, but it wasn't. Okay, so the broth was hot, but we didn't put it in a water bath. So just the fact that it was even hot, it's probably not.
Kind of preserve it. It really kills the bacteria.
Okay.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like canning vegetables are great because then you still have access to the vegetables. The thing about fermentation is you have, Sandor Katz calls it the transformation of organisms. And so take pickles would be an example, but a better example might be like cabbage, so sauerkraut. In cabbage, you have some vitamins. But when you ferment it, you create vitamins that weren't in the original cabbage. So you have vitamin K in sauerkraut that you don't have in cabbage. So you access all these new things because they've been pre-consumed. It's like pre-digested.
Right.
And so that's part of the magic of fermentation. It's the same with kombucha. You have tea. Tea has antioxidants, but you ferment it and you get B vitamins. And so it kind of unlocks this. It unlocks and makes alive the food that you're eating, which is really, really cool. And then it's also bioavailable. So I think those are the two coolest things about fermentation is bioavailability is it's basically pre-digested. So when you eat something like a salad, like we can eat like what we kind of call healthy, you can eat vegetables. Your body then has to break those down to access the vitamins in the vegetables. But if it's pre-digested or fermented, the organisms have broken it down for you and your body can just absorb the nutrients. So this is great for people with digestive issues. If you don't have a lot of like good guys in your gut, you're not breaking down the foods. So you can be losing a lot of those nutrients and not fully absorbing. But fermented foods, your body, no matter what state it's in, is going to get the maximum amount of nutrients out of the food.
Yeah. For anybody listening and thinking like, oh my God, okay, so to get really healthy, I'm just going to eat a whole bunch of fermented food. Especially if it's something that you're not used to, you kind of want to work up to it.
Yeah.
When I discovered that my depression was caused by gluten intolerance, I was reading this book, GAPS, Gut and Psychology Syndrome, I believe.
Diet.
Yeah, and it's really intense. Like it's all about eating literally nothing but like meat and sauerkraut juice.
It's resetting your diet, right?
Yeah.
You're resetting your gut.
Yeah, but it was aggressive. And so I was eating a shit ton of fermented food and it kind of made my body wig out a little bit. It was too much, right? But if you think about it, it's like when you have so many of your bodily functions that are actually being regulated by your gut, which is actually being regulated by the bacteria in it. And you go and you drastically change what you have going on in there, you're going to have some, some side effects for sure.
Totally.
Yeah. So you definitely don't want to just be like, there's too much of a good thing sometimes.
There's always too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
It also is detoxing. Like any detox, you want to be careful and start slow because you have an environment. The best way to think of your gut is an environment, like a jungle. And whatever is in there is feeding the bacteria. Or whatever food you eat feeds the bacteria. So just like we're losing species of animals in our physical environment, we're also losing species of bacteria because we don't feed them. So if you have like, you can't become like gut buddies, or like if you think of the good bacteria and the bad bacteria, if you're eating things like a high processed diet, you're feeding the bad bacteria like candida and all of these things that we don't want to grow, and you're starving the good ones. So if you automatically change what you're eating, you're changing the fuel, and you don't necessarily have all the good bacteria to consume what you're eating, and that's why you're getting some of the weird side effects. So you want to slowly change it, because you're introducing new species. So if your gut is a jungle, you want to have a diverse environment of insects and bugs and tigers and parrots. And you get that by eating a variety of ferments, and you feed those with what we'd call prebiotics, things like onions, what are some like artichokes, bananas. Those are the types of food that feed probiotics, being fermented foods. So prebiotics, probiotics, and they're just the food for each other that then feeds us. We're living off bacteria byproduct.
Totally. Well, and we're covered in bacteria too, like our skin. So I'm imagining that what we're putting in our body is also nourishing the bacteria on the outside of our body. Knowing that, it was really, really difficult to watch people slather themselves in hand sanitizer over the past few years. That was like literally one of the worst friggin' things that we could have been doing for our health. Basically just destroying our immune systems by putting hand sanitizer on your body.
Yeah, it's not just our hands that are affected. We don't have to kill all the bacteria. It's like antibiotics.
Yeah.
Really. We don't have to kill it all. Wild that those are the steps that we took.
That were recommended. Yeah.
But yeah, it's our skin is an organ. So whatever we put on our body, it impacts us just as much as we put in our body. So antibacterial products, stress, there's so many things that deplete our microbiome. We're actually born with a sterile, when we're in the womb, we have a sterile environment in our gut. And when you're born, you inherit your mom's microbiome through the birthing process. If you're born via C-section, so I had one of my son was a natural birth and my daughter was a C-section. And you can tell the difference in their immune systems.
Oh, really?
Just by like, I think that initial inoculation, my son's a lot more resilient, doesn't get sick as much. And we've worked on my daughter's, but even with like, when she started eating, she would get rashes and things like that because her digestive system just wasn't as prepared. But everything we eat and touch, and when we're in the dirt, that all builds our immune system. And then things will wipe it out, like antibiotics, high sugary diet, stress. There's all these things that deplete it. So it's really a balance of having more good stuff going in than bad bacteria.
Yeah. Okay. So what can we do? Because like, I remember when I was a kid and I was getting tonsillitis 10 times a year and was on antibiotics literally all the time. And I remember I would go on antibiotics, and then as soon as I started feeling better from the strep or the tonsillitis or whatever, I would get a cold. Because every single time, and I didn't know, nobody knew this at the time, but I'd basically just totally wiped out my immune system, and then I would get sick again. So like when I said I was literally sick all the time, I was sick all the time. And I mean, we still need to take antibiotics sometimes, right?
They can be life-saving.
Hopefully we can be a little bit more careful with that, knowing what it does to the body. But what can we do to kind of mitigate those kind of terrible side effects by, ruining our immune systems? Like what else can we do to kind of bolster ourselves during that process?
Totally. Well, other than like limiting, only taking antibiotics when they're absolutely necessary, once you've finished the course of antibiotics, you just want to rebuild that environment as quickly as possible so that you're consciously making sure that the good bacteria are thriving and we don't have an overgrowth of bad bacteria. And that'll also help boost our immune system. And the best way you can do that is by eating, of course, like whole foods, like all this stuff that we know to do, but a variety of probiotics. I know when I was little, I remember the doctor being like, after you take a course of antibiotics, eat like yogurt for a week. Which the idea in theory is right, but it takes way longer than that to fix this environment we've been building our whole lives. So part of it is having a variety of bacteria and having a lot of it. So you could take a probiotic supplement, but you also want to be having like lots of different kinds of ferment. So every different ferment has different strains of bacteria. So if you look at a probiotic pill, for example, you notice those numbers on it, they'll be like 300 million or 4 billion.
Lactobacillus, whatever,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah.
So that's just a probiotic count. And there's usually like 3 to 5-ish strains that would be in that pill, but millions or billions of them. And they're looking at specific strains that will help with certain things. In wild ferments, like kombucha has about 30 different strains of bacteria. Because it's a wild ferment, you're getting a bigger variety, but maybe less. Like our kombucha, the last time we tested, it was about 400 million probiotics per half liter. Something like sauerkraut, a scoop has trillions. So if you have a scoop of sauerkraut, you're getting a wider variety of probiotics than a pill and more of them. And then something like milk kefir is different than water kefir, different than kombucha, different than kimchi. So just like eat all the good stuff.
Yeah. So like, should we even be taking probiotic or like the supplements then? Because I know oftentimes a lot of them don't even make it through the digestive tract and they're just garbage and you're wasting your money.
Yeah, I would say with most supplements that holds true. If you can get it from the original source, at the end of the day, it's a processed version of something. Like a probiotic, you'd want it to be refrigerated because that would be a better indication that it's a live probiotic. But we can get it from food readily. We can make it. It's way cheaper. I mean, there are some things that are hard to get from food these days, but I think if you're eating like a really solid diet, you should be getting as much as you can just from food.
Okay, so what if somebody hates sauerkraut? What are some other things?
Kimchi is really popular. There's some good sauerkraut out there now, though.
Oh, I mean,
beets, you can make it. The beverages, honestly, water kefir is one of the easiest drinking.
It literally tastes like soda.
I know. Like I call it the gateway ferment because it's just so easy. And then as you can start to get used to that like tangy fermented taste.
It's not even really like this to me tastes like juice. Like it's very
really
mild. Like
drink.
I find water kefir is, it doesn't have that, sometimes kombucha has like a little bit of a sourness to or whatever, which is nice, but I don't get that at all with kefir.
It's all acquired.
Yeah.
We train ourselves to like certain things. And when your body recognizes that it's fueling it, you'll start to crave it. So even if people don't like something, if you're having literally just a scoop, when my son was little and I was trying to get him used to the taste of sauerkraut, I would be feeding him one thing, but I'd have a scoop of like sauerkraut juice under and I'd like chuck it in his mouth. He'd make like a sour face, but then he loved it. I would find him, I think he was like maybe 2 years old. I would hear the fridge open at night and he's just sitting there shoveling sauerkraut into his mouth. And it's something that like our body knows what makes it feel good. And when we eat it, especially with kombucha, I find it does start to curb the sugar cravings. So if we're used to eating a diet, it's that same like gradual, right? We just have to like wean ourselves off things that maybe aren't feeling as good in our body and replacing it slowly and changing our taste buds to like things that our body likes.
What about sourdough? Because like you end up baking that bread. Yep.
That would be helpful for things like the gluten intolerance is a really big thing right now. That when you're fermenting sourdough, the transformation of organism thing is occurring. So it's breaking down the gluten and it's starting to digest the bread for you. So by the time you eat it, it's going to be easier to digest than just straight up bread.
But is it actually probiotic?
No.
Okay.
It's not probiotic, but we've it's fermented.
Right.
And we get those benefits of the breaking down
less gluten.
The less gluten.
I still don't eat it because I literally since I discovered what was making me sick, I haven't eaten it in 3 years. Like I just can't bring myself to do it because I went from literally being bedridden to being a normal human being. So I'm not even going to risk it. But yeah, if people are just like maybe mildly sensitive, I think gluten's just absolutely horrible for everybody. So yeah, if you want a better solution and still have delicious bread, then I say that would be a very viable solution.
Totally. It's something that's a bit better.
Yeah.
And we're never going to have like a perfect solution, but if we can make like a slightly better choice with our food, that's really the best we can do.
Yeah. Do you know much about pu'er?
Yeah, it's fermented tea.
Yeah.
It's fermented black tea.
I know. Well, I've been experimenting with it lately because there's something that I might be making with it.
Fun.
But I have questions about the probiotic quality of that, especially if it's something that, again, you're heating, right? Like it's tea.
Similar to the sourdough, it wouldn't be probiotic, but they ferment and then dry the tea leaves. So
what if you prepared it, like, just make sure that the water's not boiling? Like, what if you use just like hot or warm water and not boiling?
I don't think you're going to get the probiotics, but I think it's a lot higher in antioxidants. When they ferment the tea leaves, I know something happened. It's been a while since I have researched pu'er. We did make kombucha with it at one point. I made like a pineapple ginger pu'er, and it was really nice because we're fermenting an already fermented tea, and the flavor profile is great. So we just used it because it's like a really nice tea.
Yeah.
So after we fermented it, we've got probiotics, but I don't think you'd have it in the leaves, but you get all these other benefits too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's really cool. Like I love that ingredient, and I've been experimenting with it recently for some potential beverages. And I really wanted it to have the probiotics, though. That's kind of
with shelf-stable things. It's tough. There are like shelf-stable probiotics that have spores that can withstand the heat. But there's still lots of benefits and things that have been fermented. You still have, even if you pasteurize kombucha, you still have acetic acids, and you have organic tea. Like there's all this good stuff that comes from fermenting foods. So better to eat, honestly, if you're going to eat sauerkraut from the shelf, still better than like not eating food that's got through that process.
Yeah.
There's so many cool foods out there.
There are.
Lots of cool processes.
Okay, since you mentioned shelf, so I wanted to talk, well, first let's talk about your process a little bit, because like you mentioned about like how you get your kombucha tested and it has like bajillions of bacteria and stuff in it, and it's really good. We've had this conversation before, and you've educated me on the fact that a lot of the kombuchas that we find on the shelves of the grocery store actually are like basically pasteurized, and you can taste it. Like, I don't know if anybody's listening here and you've got a kombucha that you just bought from the grocery store or whatever, and it's really vinegary. Yeah. So like, why is that? What's going on there?
Well, everyone ferments really differently. There's different methods because kombucha is still niche. There's not like a standard of fermenting. So processes vary wildly between brewers, and something happens in fermentation. So you start kombucha specifically with green tea and sugar. And as it ferments, it develops all these good bacteria. But then there is a point where they peak and then start to diminish because they eat each other. They're alive, so everything's just eating everything. Okay. Sugar content also goes down as you ferment, and alcohol will increase, but then it will go down again. And so at the end point of kombucha, you'll get to a vinegar where there's zero sugar, and it's stable because there's nothing left to consume, just like an apple cider vinegar. So apple cider vinegar is a really similar process to kombucha in that you have that mother. Yeah. And the mother eats the apple juice and makes vinegar. Kombucha will also eventually get to a vinegar state.
Okay.
And so there are some companies that will kind of ferment to that vinegar state and then like back sweeten, because you don't want to drink a glass of vinegar for the most part. Vinegar is great in a shot glass or like to dilute with water for the blood sugar balancing benefits. But you'd want to sweeten it. There was a time, it was a couple years ago, when like apple cider vinegar beverages were a trend. I think there's a bunch still around. Yeah. Often those are diluted. So within the fermented beverage world, kombucha and vinegar have like a lot of crossover if it's like a Venn diagram.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. So are those more vinegary tasting kombuchas, like do they still have the health benefits or have the probiotics eaten themselves?
They may or may not. Typically, A more vinegary kombucha would have a lower quantity of probiotics because it's had more time to consume.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So translation, basically, if you pick up a booch that's a little more on the sour side, and I've done this lots, right? Because it's like sometimes when I'm traveling, there's no Mother Love kombucha and I have to drink something else. And you never know what you're getting because it is a live product, right? So sometimes you get when you're like, oh, this is really great. But there's some that you can tell, excuse me, are very like highly flavored with other things. And so I kind of question what that's all about. But yeah, every once in a while, like I get a very vinegary one and I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I
The
feel
best
like I'm
thing
not
to
getting
do,
benefits
it is kind
here.
of like Russian roulette when you go to the kombucha section and you're like, I have no idea how these are going to taste.
Yeah.
And you just kind of grab one in hopes that it'll be good. There's lots of great brands. There's lots of kind of funky brands. And the best thing, like all food, is just know your maker. Like if you're going to the market and you want certain vegetables, you'd ask your farmer how they produce. It's the same thing with like if you're having local, you can go to the producer and be like, how long do you ferment? What's the benefit of drinking yours? And I mean, likely willing to share.
Yeah.
We're happy to give tours of our facility and explain what we do because that's where the magic happens. But you don't know, I think, until you ask the brand.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Know where your stuff is coming from. Support local. That's all really important.
Don't fall for the label trick.
Yeah.
So many times labels lie. It happens with kombucha. It happens with everything. Or like kombucha flavored things. There's all these real like these kombucha waters coming out.
Oh my
kombucha
God.
Lights.
Okay, this thing that I'm seeing right now that's driving me absolutely insane. So you know those what are they called? It's a little machine that you make your own soda water with.
SodaStream.
Thank you. Okay, so you know how they have just like the sugar flavors?
The kombucha flavor?
Yeah, there's a kombucha one, and I'm like, no.
You don't want to get me started on greenwashing.
That is what? Because I'm like, obviously it's just sugar shit in there. Like, why would you?
Might be sugar vinegar. Some people might just like the taste of kombucha.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I haven't even purchased it because I know that it's not kombucha. So I refuse to even try it.
Yeah, marketers will put on the label anything that's going to sell.
Crazy.
I love reading labels. It's like one of the things I geek out on. Like I want to know what's in it. I'm going to read the label. I'm going to connect the supplier if I need a spec sheet. I love it, but most consumers don't want to think.
Yeah.
They want to be like, oh, this is organic, so I'll grab it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, it's really important to know what we're consuming.
Yeah.
But you have to ask some questions and do a bit of critical thinking. And not everyone finds that fun. I find it fascinating, but
yeah,
it can get tiring.
Well, okay, so some tips for people then. If you're going to buy fermented food and you're in the grocery store, so say you're not at the farmer's market and you can't ask a bunch of questions, you're going to want to buy the sauerkraut or the fermented pickles that are in the cold
fridge
section, right? When it comes to booch, I mean, you're just going to have to taste test unless you want to go around calling everybody.
Totally. I mean, you can read the label. Sometimes that's an indication. Or make it at home. Ferments are pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't tried kombucha at home yet. I need to try. I drink so much of it.
Coming up. Come to a workshop.
Oh yeah. Oh,
it's
I'm gonna.
Honestly, easy.
Yeah.
The thing I think that scares people is they think if they ferment at home, they're going to poison themselves and their loved ones and probably die. I think that's what people assume is the worst case scenario. And it's really not that bad. It's just a new concept because we maybe didn't grow up with our parents fermenting. It's a foreign concept. I mean, we're taking food and letting it kind of go bad on the counter. And so it's just knowing a couple of things, like having someone show you the right equipment, the right ingredients, and then just the tools. But really, when it comes to bacteria, like in our gut, we can feed the good ones or we can feed the bad ones. You can't feed both. And so something like kombucha is an acidic product. And anything that's like under 4.5 pH, it doesn't feed bad bacteria. You're only feeding good bacteria. So it's a very low risk ferment. Same with vegetables. If they're submerged under salt, salt keeps it from going bad. So you might get some mold on the top, but it's fine underneath.
Oh, so you can just scoop that mold off?
Yeah, if it's just on the top and you have the right brine. So it's like anaerobic or aerobic. If we get like sciencey, you basically ferment with oxygen or without oxygen.
Mhm.
Vegetables are without oxygen, so you submerge them under the brine, and they're good, just chilling in the salt water. Something like a beverage ferment, kefir, apple cider vinegar, kombucha, that needs oxygen. It's breathing, but it's acidic, so you can't grow bad bacteria. So all to say, it's safe. Just have someone you trust teach you.
Yeah.
And it's way cheaper.
Yeah.
Like kombucha, you're turning tea and sugar into this probiotic goodness.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm definitely coming to that class.
Yeah. We do workshops online.
Are you just, I was going to say, I'm hoping you're doing stuff online too for people who aren't in Kelowna here.
We also do them in-house. But
yeah,
I think
I want to do an in-house one.
In-house is fun. Yeah. It's interactive. We taste ferments, we eat sauerkraut, we eat kimchi. And that's a good way to do it. I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, workshops.
Workshops are great. Are you doing workshops for just kombucha, or are you doing kefirs as well?
If there's interest. I used to do sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, and kombucha. Right now we're just starting with some kombucha.
Yeah.
Kombucha workshops. But yeah, if there's interest, I love teaching ferments.
I mean, I think there would be a lot of interest just because, I mean, the cost of food right now is astronomical.
Very true.
I made my own pickles this year because my favorite brand of pickles is now $14 fucking for a jar. And I'm like, yeah, nah. So I figured out how to make mustard pickles, and they're really good.
You're so good at that. Like,
I mean, literally
batch cooking, and
I had no idea what I was doing. I went to go make pickles with my auntie, and I was like, okay, so the pickles that I like are very yellow. And I'm going to just assume that what they've done is squeezed an entire jar of yellow prepared mustard into the thing, right? And so, and I looked at the ingredients in a thing of mustard, and it's literally just vinegar, mustard seed, turmeric. That's all there was. And I was like, oh, okay, great. But it's already like in a creamy formula. So that's what I did. And I just literally bought, I bought way too much, but I bought I don't know, 8 containers of like big things of just French's mustard or whatever. And just squeeze tons of it into the jars. And but I got pretty close. It was legit. It's really good.
And it's empowering to make your own food, to be like, I can do this.
So now I wonder if I could do that with fermented pickles. Because fermented pickles have a different flavor. They're not as sour. If you're really used to those crunchy sour pickles, that's a fermented pickle is a little bit different. They're awesome. It's more effervescent, which I love. But it's not exactly the same flavor. But I wonder if I could throw mustard in. And you think? Yeah?
No reason why you can't. You can get super creative. That's another good reason to ferment at home.
Yeah.
Because you can customize the flavor. If you like it more acidic, let it ferment a little longer. You can put any flavor in.
Yeah.
It's really fun and pretty easy.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, I think the workshop's really great because a lot of people too now, I mean, there's a huge movement where people want to know where their food is coming from, and maybe they're stocking up at the farmer's market during the summertime, and then they want to be able to make stuff it's unfortunate, but I don't know, when you're a kid, I remember my grandma being like, okay, we're gonna make the pierogies and whatever, and you're a kid and you're just like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this, right? And now I'm like, oh, I wish I
took some notes,
paid attention to that a little bit more. And so we have a lot of lost ancestral wisdom, and I don't know about you, but my parents my grandparents did a lot of this stuff, but my parents' generation just didn't really seem to have as much interest. They were more about the convenience stuff, right? And so I think we kind of lost that link a little bit.
I think so. I was lucky to
depends
have
on the parents,
a really crunchy mom.
She
made
was very
colloidal silver.
Oh shit!
Not only used it, she made it.
Yeah, that's right.
And we had a garden, and she made all her own bread. She'd make bagels. So I was fortunate to kind of see this. We didn't do a ton of fermenting, but we made bread. So it's kind of second nature to do things in the kitchen. And so I don't think I ever bought kombucha before I started making it. because I'm like, oh, why would I buy that? Like, it's so easy to make. And I think once you realize it's easy, there's no reason to buy it. Because it takes a bit of time, but so does going shopping. And I think it's just a mindset thing. A lot of people think it's a bit counterintuitive that I sell kombucha and teach people how to make it. But like,
I don't
still,
there's so many things, right? Like there's so much stuff, and I don't know. You and I are both manifesting generators.
Yes.
For anybody that like follows human design, and like I get completely obsessed with an idea, and I'm like, this is my life now. I'm like, I'm going to do this forever, and I get really obsessed with it for 3 months. And then I get obsessed with something else and I forget about it. And then I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Remember the time that I was like really into pottery or scuba diving or like making kefir or whatever. And like, and now I haven't done that literally in years because now I'm obsessed with something else. So it's nice to have options.
Yeah. It's good to have the skill
it's good to have the skill.
To do
it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm definitely coming to learn how to make kombucha. I'm psyched about that.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about how people can make stuff at home. We talked about, let's talk a little bit about the difference between kefir and kombucha.
That's a question we get all the time.
Yeah.
They're different ferments with different cultures. So there is tons of different cultures.
And like, what's a culture? Like, it's just a blob of bacteria? Like, it's just so many bacteria that are just like smushed together that they make some sort of a form.
Yeah, it's like a live alien looking thing most of the time. I don't even know where they came from.
Well, SCOBY is really weird and gross looking, but like kefir grains are weird. They're like,
they're cute little culture balls.
Yeah. I mean, so there's the milk ones that are white. Yeah. And then the soda ones that I were using, it almost looks like
clear little bumpy marbles.
Yeah. Or like, I don't know. They're very like crystalline looking. Yeah. And starts off small. They get bigger and then you can give them away to people and share.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They're all different cultures that eat different things.
Right.
So we are familiar with apple cider vinegar, kombucha, maybe kefir, but there's tons. Like even an offshoot of kombucha is the Jun kombucha. That's the green tea honey ferment. And those cultures, the SCOBY stands for symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. So basically bacteria, yeast living symbiotically, producing stuff. And so that kind of SCOBY culture is what you'd find in a kombucha or a Jun or an apple cider vinegar. And then there's the grains. I kind of call them cousins. You've got kombucha and then you've got kefir. And there's milk kefir and water kefir that are more similar. They're both made with these little grains. The milk ones consume dairy. The water kefir ones just eat sugar water. But there's coconut water kefir grains. There's so many different kinds of cultures and they're just feeding off different things. And we have a few different ones have been popular, but depending on dietary restrictions and things like that, there's definitely like a ferment that you could find that you probably like the taste of and can make.
And with a milk kefir, so you can make like yogurt and things like that. And then can you also use that one for making like vegan coconut yogurt and that sort of thing?
There might
or
be
is it for
coconut milk kefir grains? They kind of just have one thing because the milk kefir grains, they need to eat the proteins in milk.
Okay.
And so usually
so it needs the lactobacillus or whatever.
It needs the lactobacillus. So but that final milk product, the milk kefir, is going to be more easily digested than like a yogurt or a regular milk. So that's just, they're doing the fermentation process. But that's the difference between them. Like kombucha has caffeine, a little bit, not a lot, but then water kefir has no caffeine and is non-dairy. And then milk kefir is non-caffeinated but dairy. So they're just different varieties. They're all in the family of ferments, and then you just have these little groups of different cultures.
Cool. I love that.
It's a fun little bacteria world, bacteria family.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm looking through all my questions and I feel like you covered everything already.
We talked anything else about bacteria. We talked a lot about the microbiome.
What else can we tell people?
Another great way to just, if we're looking at the microbiome, at large.
Mm-hmm.
Like fermented foods are one part of it, but there's a lot of things that also positively impact our microbiome. Things like being outside,
Yeah.
being in dirt, anywhere there's bacteria, because there's bacteria on our body, but there's also bacteria in our environment.
Like the air.
And so when we're talking about what we're eating, and when we talked about sanitizer, like what you put on your hands, that would be an example of something that's not super great for our overall microbiome, but putting your hands in dirt, you're putting your hands in good bacteria.
Yeah.
And so if we think about all of these things, not as separate they're not separate. They're all combined. What we breathe, where we walk, what we eat, they all are these factors that go into our makeup. So when we're looking at like an issue, if we have a skin disorder or if we have mental health issues, it's not like one thing is going to fix it. It's a combination of what we're eating, what we're doing, all of these factors. And there's a huge correlation between our gut and our brain. And even just being in nature, looking at nature, improves our mood drastically. And so it's not like all or nothing, or if you can't do something, it's like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just like there's so many easy things we can do that have like a very positive impact on our life.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was learning about forest bathing this summer, it was really fascinating because just breathing the biotic air, right? So the quality of air that you're breathing when you're inside a city is vastly different than what you're getting inside of, when you're standing in a forest. And it's funny because like the effects are really noticeable. Like I think sometimes we don't really think about it, but like when you go into nature, it's like you feel a lot better, right? And why is that? Like obviously there's like the fascination and the beauty of the surroundings, but that fresh air that you're getting, you're actually taking on like the microbiome of the forest, and we are part of that. Like we are part of nature, so that is medicine for us, right?
All those little microbes.
Yeah. And so, even if it's -20 like it is here right now, and you're not able to go to the beach or garden or whatever, just being outside and going for a walk and still getting some fresh air, because the trees literally release like chemicals and all kinds of amazing things that are just phenomenal for us.
They found even looking at trees, there's a really interesting book called The Secrets of the Microbiome, and it is jam-packed with good stuff.
Yeah.
If you're like really wanting more about the microbiome. But they did a study, I think it was over the course of a decade or two, where there was a hospital in a city, and rooms on one side of the hospital overlooked a park. Rooms on the other side looked onto another building, concrete. And the patients that were in the rooms facing the park had shorter hospital stays, needed less pain medication, and recovered faster. Same conditions if they compared like patient to patient than the ones looking at the brick building.
Oh, for sure.
And so they didn't even have to need to like be in nature. There's something when we even look at nature that like, I don't know, relaxes our body, or there's so much science that's making these things that we know tangible and we have scientific backup. But yeah, every day there's just more and more. So the more we're closer to that, if we can't be in nature, look at nature, we are beings of nature. And the more we can be around living things, living trees, living dirt, living food, we're going to feel more alive.
Amen. I love that. Well, we talked about upcoming courses and stuff. How else can people connect with you, try your booch, all the things?
Well, I own Mother Love Kombucha. So on Instagram, we're Mother Love Kombucha. You can Google motherloveferments.com, and that's where you can find workshop dates, stockists in your area. We have more and more kombucha retailers and stockists in the Lower Mainland, and that's growing all the time. Follow us on Instagram, check our stockist. If you want to ferment, join some workshops, and we'd love to support your journey of health and fermented well-being.
Yay. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me and drinking my products and being a great friend.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I love our conversations.
I know. So good. We could just go on forever. Well, we probably are going to continue after this and just continue drinking kombucha and hang out for a little bit. But for everyone listening or watching, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If there's anything that you really loved about it, please take a screenshot and share. We would love, love, love to hear your feedback, and we will catch you on the next episode. Thanks so much for sharing your time and energy with us today. We'd love to hear your feedback on how our podcast has impacted your life, and are also open to suggestions for new and interesting topics. Please leave your comments with a quick review to help us grow this magical community of wellness warriors and light workers. Every month, we select one lucky reviewer to win our big Magick box, containing all 3 of our beautiful Magick lattes. To connect with us further, check us out on Instagram at wild_remedies. Thank you again, and see you at the next episode.